Staying in touch is just a few clicks away. Get the latest news from a Catholic perspective and so much more. Become a RealCatholicTV.com premium member today.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium. CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Referendum required. It's another case of legislating beyond the will of the people as homosexual marriage law passes the Maryland House heading to the Senate, while voters in the state vow to fight for a referendum if the bill passes. The Maryland Senate approved of similar legislation last year, and dissenting Catholic Governor Martin O'Malley has made it very clear he will sign the bill if it reaches his desk, saying the House vote on what is being called the Civil Marriage Protection Act is one of, quote, human dignity. Political activists in favor of homosexuality seem to be fighting the people they represent as state lawmakers, as a referendum is organized in Washington to fight the homosexual marriage law passed there in that state, and as the voters of Maryland make clear their opposition to such political efforts. These moves in state government come as Catholic Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey follows through on a promise he made when he became governor, vetoing the homosexual marriage bill that is the Democratic legislature's top priority in his state. Doubtful consultation. Contrary to Obama's claims, Health Secretary Kathleen Sebelius says she didn't consult with any Catholic bishops about the so-called religious accommodation to contraception in Obamacare. You may remember in his statement announcing the accommodation, Obama said, quote, "From the very beginning of this process, I spoke directly to various Catholic officials," end quote. Kathleen Sebelius answered Utah Senator Orrin Hatch's probing questions about the issue, saying she didn't speak to any representative of the Catholic Church and didn't know if anyone had prior to February 10th or not. The Obama administration is also demanding that a federal court case filed by Catholic Belmont Abbey College against Obamacare be thrown out, only defending the law by saying it does no, quote, immediate injury to religious groups, and that they are planning on revising the mandate further. This case was the first opportunity for Obamacare to defend the constitutionality of his insurance mandate in court to the American people. Pro-life priest arrested. A Catholic priest and several protesters have been arrested after praying in front of the White House to show their disapproval of Obama's contraception mandate. Father Dennis Wild, the Associate Director of Priests for Life, was cuffed and carted away along with several others for, quote, disobeying a lawful order, since it is apparently illegal to remain stationary in front of the White House while demonstrating. Father Wild told LifeSite News, quote, Occupy Wall Street protesters have been occupying federal property for months, but when we kneel in prayer, the police are called in and we are arrested, end quote. A note on Father Frank Pavone's Facebook page prior to the prayer vigil late last week said the attendees were expected to be arrested, but that, quote, civil disobedience is called for. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
As the GOP frontrunner brought his message to Southeast Michigan, this was the scene last Friday. Have a listen. Rick Santorum, presidential candidate, is giving Michigan residents his gospel of hope for America as the race to the Republican primary in the Great Lakes state heats up. As you can see, Santorum spoke to a standing room only crowd in Shelby Township, calling on everyone to return to American values.
The values of this community, because the values of growing up in that blue-collar town and understanding the value of hard work, understanding the importance of family, understanding the importance of faith, in the church, in civic and community organization. That's the fabric that I grew up in.
The Pennsylvania senator has reason to hope as his poll numbers continue to pummel Mitt Romney in the fight for the Republican nomination. According to a national CNN poll released just yesterday, Santorum is leading Romney among Republican voters by 8 percentage points, with 36% for Santorum and only 28% for Romney. With the Michigan primary only 1 week away, a large lead will be most beneficial to the winner, since states holding their primaries before April 1st must divide their delegates proportionally according to the popular vote percentage. Jefferson's Jesus, the same Smithsonian institution that brought you exhibitions on the homosexual lifestyle, now wants to tell you how much of a genius Thomas Jefferson was for editing the Bible. In an exhibition available through May at the Museum of American History called, quote, Jefferson's Bible, Life and the Morals of Jesus of Nazarene, praises the former president for cutting excerpts from 6 different Bible translations to create his own version of Christianity. A panel in the exhibit clarifies, quote, left behind in the source material were those elements that he could not support through reason or that he believed were later embellishments, such as the miracles and the resurrection, end quote. The exhibit goes on to express that Jefferson created something fresh and ambitious with his edited Bible, and that it was, quote, not an act of disrespect. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com, and also be sure to check out The Vortex, where Michael comes to us again from his travels in the Philippines. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us, and as always, God bless you.